Hey everyone, I'm Alli Dahl from the Disrupt Education podcast.
And I'm Peter Hostrawser. The workforce is changing, but education isn't.
If students are going to thrive, they'll need to create their own opportunities like the students on this series.
To do that, they need skills. Not the I memorized who the Renaissance painters were skills, or I've read the Canterbury Tales skills. We're talking about the pragmatic skills that get you a job or let you do your own thing.
There's only one way to acquire these skills, and it ain't lectures, textbooks, or tests.
That's where Pegasus comes in. Pegasus is creating the first white-collar trade school.
Superior to college in every way, Pegasus is a career-focused, experiential program that enables high school grads to start lucrative careers 3 years earlier and $100K ahead of college grads, and can be job ready from the moment they graduate.
Pegasus has also opened doors to recent college graduates who can't find jobs and acts as a career bridge that leads from a hopeless situation to a bright future.
And employers? They get the first ever AI native entry-level workforce that comes fully job ready. No more training, no more lost year productivity, just instant lift with no company resources required.
So if you're a student or an employer, go to pegasus.com and let Pegasus change your life forever. Now sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the student series on the Disrupt Education podcast.
When I first started, I got 2 plastic buckets. And now we have a $40,000 mobile detailing set up, and we're about to get another one. So if you put your mind to it, you can definitely make things happen.
What you built is incredible in 2 years' time. How did you use YouScience? Be like, I didn't know I was good at these things, and put it into building a business, right? Like, how did we go from architecture to I like planes, but I need to be able to fund the planes?
I did this reverse career fair event that our school did, and we had to do some of our main YouScience results. And like one of my main ones that kind of surprised me was like an investigator. Like I would never think that would be like one of my traits. I mean, it makes sense that I kind of investigate before. I look into everything before I even do a project because I want to make sure we're putting out quality results.
Disrupting education isn't about helping students choose a career. It's about helping them understand themselves.
You're listening to the Disrupt Education podcast, powered by YouScience. Here are your hosts, Peter Hostrawser and Alli Dahl.
Welcome to this episode of the podcast, the Disrupt Education podcast. I'm just so excited, Alli. So podcast, but
Podcast.
This is the Disrupt Education podcast, if you haven't figured that out. But I'm Peter Hostrawser. That is Alli Dahl. And we've got a great guest coming up. But before we get to that person, Alli, what's going on? How are you?
I'm well. I'm really jazzed for the kickoff of our summer series. I like to think of the student series as like a core foundation to the podcast. It's what essentially you started the podcast with, Peter, 10 years ago, was interviewing students of what could be different about education. And so I love that we keep this student summer series every year. And I don't know, there's something really special about hearing directly from students that you can't get anywhere else. And I love that we stay grounded in that on the podcast. And I look forward to hearing and talking to students every single year. And so the fact that we're starting for this year for 2026 is just like the best feeling ever. So if you are new to the podcast, haven't listened before, we have students on every summer. And like last summer was a real big game changer for us. And the stories that we heard were not what we expected. So we never like know exactly like where the stories are going to take us. And so if you didn't listen to last summer's series, it's phenomenal with Liam and Abby and Lindsay and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on our DJ. But yeah, it's really, really solid series.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I really do love this series. Isaac Palmer
There it
was
is.
our big DJ. I think one of the things that I've done in the past, I've given a speech a lot of different places, mostly to students and or teachers on the ground running, and it was the haters, waiters, and doers speech, and I think that comes right into our first guest. We're going bold, and this person's going to set the level high for our rest of our students on this series. But again, like Ali said, we're highlighting students who found direction before graduation, and not really because somebody really handed it to them through a roadmap, but because they basically learned something about themselves and then acted on it. So most students, basically, I know as an internship coordinator, spend a lot of their time looking for opportunities. Well, today's guest created one, and we have Landon Breeden here. He's always dreamed of being a pilot, but that opportunity that he needed wasn't available, so he had a choice: wait, quit, or basically build something. Hate, wait, or do. So through work-based learning, aptitude, awareness, and willingness to create opportunities instead of waiting for them, he launched First Line Mobile Detailing. What started with detailing cars has gone to buses, RVs, boats, and guess what? Airplanes. And I'm an airplane geek, so I'm super excited. But what's most impressive here is Landon then became a work-based learning student and a work-based learning employer. And I know our buddy Jason Van Nuss talks extremely high about you, Landon, but welcome to the Disrupt Education podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Awesome. We're so excited to dig more into your story and this. So let's jump in. Before all this business existed, before entrepreneurship entered the picture, what was your plan? Did you have a plan?
I really didn't, believe it or not. I had no plan at all. I kind of was wanting to be like a bridge designer, architect, which is a complete whole other opposite of anything I've thought about now. But I really like kind of designing stuff, and I took some of the classes at our high school doing like the architect classes and stuff like that. And I don't know. I went on a discovery flight with our neighbor, like kind of while I was doing these classes, and I was like, all right, I really like this flying thing. I don't know about this architect stuff no more. So I think I'm gonna push that out. I don't really want to do that no more. And that's really where I picked up, like, I want to fly. Like, I love this. This is super fun. However, I'm not getting a job as a pilot in high school. So I have to do things do things basically to get me ready to do that later on down the road. So that's where I kind of just started doing a little bit of solo, or not solo, but like kind of private flying, just lessons, work on my PPL, my private license. And that's where I was like, I gotta find some way to make money to pay for this stuff, because it's not cheap. So that's when I sort of started thinking about, I want to start something on my own, because the job I'm at wasn't paying enough to support that. So
as a skydiver who jumps out of the airplanes, right? I know we have pilots, obviously, that have to fly the aircrafts for us, and a lot of them want to come fly for skydivers because they're working on their commercial license, and effectively free flight hours is a big incentive. If people don't know, listening, like, it's hundreds of dollars an hour to fly. And so if you can fly skydivers effectively for free and get your flight time, it's like a big bonus. So I don't know if you ever want to do that, Landon, but once you do get your private pilot's license, it is an option.
Yes, ma'am.
So love that you kind of found aviation, and but like, I kind of want to know a little bit more, right? Like, when you realized this wasn't going to be an option for work, and then like kind of your work-based learning, like how that then led to your next step.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm usually just pretty cool and collected with most things I do. I wasn't too worried about it, but I knew that I definitely have to start making other steps to make it possible, because I can't do that with the school. So that's kind of where I started. We do YouScience and everything. I know y'all are pretty familiar with that. assuming. So Mr. Van Nuss was always super huge on our YouScience and really just using it to our potential. And that's where I kind of figured out, like, there's a bunch of things I didn't know I was super good at. So I started just putting those into play, and I'm kind of skipping ahead, but I like to talk about like what got me into the detailing side of things. So
Sure.
I've always seen a bunch of TikToks of other people doing it, and I was like, that's super satisfying. I want to do it myself. So I was working at a warehouse job. I was making, I think, 15 an hour there, and worked 2 to 11 Monday through Friday. So super busy. And I was like, well, I think I'm gonna go this route and try to start something on my own, because I was washing some of the trucks up there for them and just doing some of their things. I was like, pretty good at it, but I want to do it on my own. So I made some posts, started some things up, started doing it on the weekends, and my weekends got to where they were being completely full. And I was like, well, I'm working 2 to 11 Monday through Friday here, and my weekends are completely full. So I gotta choose one. And that's when I put my 2 weeks in, and I was like, now it's go time. I have to make it work. This is the option now. So that was a pretty important step. It was fun too.
So let me ask you, and we haven't even established this, Allie.
I know.
How old are you? Like,
Um,
like where are you at in your education?
Yeah, so I just recently graduated from high school a couple of weeks ago. I'm 18 now. I
Mhm.
started it when I was 16, just because I could drive and do it out of my truck and actually do the mobile side of things where I go to the people. Because I mean, you always got the traditional shops where you can drop your vehicle off, get it detailed, but then you got to fit that into your schedule. You got to arrange drop off, pickup, stuff like that. So the mobile side of things was really huge, and get my name out there, because people are like, wait, you come to me. You can do it at my office, at my work. So that's really helped. And I think that's a important part of the detailing, is being able to go to people and having my own water source, power source, which is in our current van. And even when I had it in my truck, I was able to have a water tank in the back and a generator, but I figured out real fast that 6 miles per gallon wasn't good. So I had to find something else.
I,
So that's when I got a van.
I really like, so I'm a business teacher. A lot of people don't know that, but like I started as a business educator, and for you to start figuring these things out, like you're doing spreadsheets, you're doing math. I mean, when you put a dollar sign in front of math, people usually get it pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Um, I kind of want to take from the expansion. I mean, I've had a lot of students in the past do some of the work kind of like you're doing, but never to the level of taking it to the next level. And what I really like about your story is you've gotten all the way to aircraft. Can you take us from, okay,
Yeah.
I'm doing cars, and then you go to different vehicles, and then now you're even in the aircraft. How did that play out? Because that's pretty amazing.
Yes, sir. So basically it was, I would say, first of all, is really gaining like trust and stuff with people. So having a good credibility. I mean, we have over 100 5-star reviews now on Google. So we're the top rated in the region. That helps. But a big thing that I would say has been the biggest part into moving into the aircraft detailing side of things is that I fly out there. So like I'm always trying to, anytime I see someone new, like I'm trying to go up and talk, like have a conversation and meet them, because you never know, who this person is. Especially, I mean, if they're new to you. So that kind of just opened up the door. And one time they were like, would you like to maybe detail our plane? I was like, oh, I would love to. I've never did one before. And it helps that I fly, because like you got like the pitot tubes and static ports or static vents, stuff like that. You can't get water in. So an average person that details like just regular cars all day, they don't know these things. So you can mess stuff up fast, and it's expensive on a plane. So it helps that when I fly, they like, well, we know that you know these things, and we know that you fly and you do stuff around these all the time. So it helps, like sort of helps them just trust me a little bit more with their aircraft. And with that being said, I have an ID card out there. So or at Valdosta Airport where I'm from. So I think it's me and one or two other companies. We're the only companies in the area that has access out to the airport, like on our own. Usually you have to have like escorts and everything like that. So that's pretty cool.
So I'm an aircraft geek. I've got to ask, what's the coolest aircraft that you were able to detail?
So far I haven't did like anything crazy, just because with like being in the school and recently that Georgia State Flex competition. I got it mixed up a little bit. The Georgia State Flex competition, I had a bunch going on in like one section of time. So I haven't really pushed on expanding to like large, like huge jets and stuff. But my favorite so far has probably been the what are they called? I'd have to recall. I'm trying to think. It's a small, just 4-seater private jet. Holy cow! I can't
That's
think.
all right. That's what happened. Is that like I'm thinking, even if you're doing a Cessna like prop plane, I'm like cool with that. Like,
Oh yeah, no, we did a couple of the Cessna 152s now, and they're pretty cool. I like those.
yeah.
I did recently. I just did it's a fully wooden aircraft, which was really cool to me. I can't remember the name of it. However, I want to know the other one. I can't remember exactly, but we did a couple cool things, and they're on all of our social medias because I mean we make sure to get the planes on there because most people don't have planes on their detail pages, so we like to push those. But yes, sir.
Man, we got to walk this back for our listeners just a little bit. So I mean, like, what you've built is incredible in 2 years' time. But like, how did you use YouScience like to kind of be like, okay, I didn't know I was good at these things, and put it into building a business, right? Like, how did we go from architecture to I like planes, but I need to be able to fund the planes like that? There's a couple gaps there that I know, who, if it was all from you, or if like someone helped you kind of guide you through that, like kind of walk us back a little bit. Like, how did we even get to betting on ourselves and now building this amazing business at 18 years old?
Yes, ma'am. So like the YouScience, for example, like one of the big, I not competed, but I did this reverse career fair event that our school did, and we had to do some of our main YouScience results. And like one of my main ones that kind of surprised me was like an investigator. Like I would never think that would be like one of my traits. So I kind of touched back on that, and I was like, that kind of makes sense though, because with everything I do, like I make sure I research like extensively on all of the products and everything we use. So, I mean, it makes sense that I kind of investigate before. I look into everything before I even do a project because I want to make sure we're putting out quality results. Another thing is like kind of a double checker. I go over everything. That's where we get the reputation side of things from, which has really helped kind of expand along the ways, is just putting out quality results and things like that. So those are some of the big ones with YouScience, I would say, that I didn't notice I even had, and that's really helped.
We just want to pause right here and share a little bit more about YouScience.
Well, instead of us actually talking about it, Alli, why don't we just roll clips of guests speaking about it? Sound good?
That was awesome.
All right, let's roll these.
We really had to say that was where we brought in YouScience, intentional planning, so that no matter who they spoke with, whether it be their counselor, whether it be one of our CTE coordinators, whether it be one of our programs that were coming in to help, that they were the ones saying, hey, this is what I see myself. This is what I'm good at. These are my strengths. This is how you can help me. Our student outcomes started to change where we never guessed they would. Our failure rates went down.
So when I ran into YouScience and kind of started digging into the evidence-based research that both the interest and aptitude side of YouScience sits on, I thought, this is it. This is how we make college not a very expensive career exploration for students. This is how we get kids in the right field.
What about someone who's an engineer and they say, but I really don't want to go to college? Well, YouScience can do that little subtle shift away from engineering and just say, well, what about mechatronics and PLC technicians? So it allows you to pinpoint where a student may feel comfortable, and you're not just guessing.
Well, there you have it, Alli. This is what people on our podcast say. We don't need to say it again and again.
Everybody who brings up YouScience, even the messages and the conversations we have outside of the podcast, they all go back to everything you just heard and more.
Exactly. Hit up youscience.com/disrupt education podcast. Basically, you'll see how YouScience BrightPath uses data, aptitude, insights, and real world connections to close the career exposure gap. Just request a demo there. Tell them you heard about them on Disrupt Education podcast. Trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. Reach out today. I mean, I really like how you took investigator and then research. As like you said, an aircraft geek myself, which you know the intricacies in a machine like that are very different than like an automobile or a recreational vehicle where you are now, and I'm assuming like you're getting to see different cockpits, you're learning to see different instruments, you're learning to see different types of aircraft and those types of things. I think one of the things as you unpack, we know the reverse career fair very well. I've seen Mr. Van Nuss talk about it at several conferences. As a matter of fact, we've headed up to one in Wisconsin and talked to him and Christy Valesky about after they keynoted. Big shout out to ACTE and Region 3. But I wanted to ask you, so, as you're doing these things, how do you adapt to failure, right? Because I think as a young person in traditional school, right, one of the things that we always do is like, oh, everything's got to be perfect. What were some of the hardest lessons as you were building this in 2 years that you learned?
I would say definitely some of the hardest lessons for me is like what you were just talking about, like wanting to be perfect. I've always I want everything to be done right. And you figure out that when you try to do that, the biggest thing is for me is the time management side of things. When you're trying to be perfect, there's sometimes when you just can't. You got to learn how to really time manage. You got to manage your time really well when it comes to this, especially when we're doing 40, 45 plus cars a week with one unit. I mean, you gotta know how to manage your time. So that's a big one. Another I was trying to think is just sort of learning, I don't know how to word it, but learning your clients. Everyone's different. So you really have to learn how to provide a great experience for each person you deal with, because some people may like this and some people may not like this. So you really have to learn how to basically just provide a great experience for everyone and just see what they like. I have a couple of clients that likes golfing. So some of the first times I ever did their vehicles, I left a thing of teas with them just as just an appreciation thing. So I've seen it's sort of I've always been interested in this, but I like researching just people before I even do them. So if I get a new client, I'm already looking them up and just learning about them just to do it. I mean, just to kind of give me a better, because if I get to their place and I see they like camping, that's a conversation starter right there, right when I get there. So I don't just get to the house and start the car. I like to learn about people and just build a relationship. And that's how we get our maintenance clients and returning people. And that's a big, big thing with the business.
You look up Alli? What'd you find about Alli?
or Landon. No, my husband works in different software sales, but maintenance and returning customers in software sales and in any business really is like bread and butter. You don't want people to come one time. That's great. Of course, you want new clients, but if you can, the lifetime customer value, or there's some business phrase, not the business teacher here, it was the chem teacher, but that's a real thing. I mean, you wanting to connect with your clients and build a real connection is, I wasn't thinking that at 18. Your business sense is incredible. Man, there's so many questions in what you've dropped. But I'm really curious, how has kind of discovering your entrepreneurial aptitude, you clearly have an aptitude for, building a business, and not everybody does, but how has that like kind of influenced the last 2 years of your life? I don't want to put it in any one bucket, but like, how has that kind of spread in your everyday life?
Yes, ma'am. So like kind of by figuring out the aptitudes and stuff like that I didn't really know I had, I'm able to like really use them to my advantage. So I'm able to kind of better understand like our day-to-day operations and just how to run things and just use those traits that I didn't know I possessed, like just use them to my advantage and just work off of them and basically just trying to think how to word it, but like really just work off of them and kind of just better workflow. I mean, that's the biggest thing is just learning how to work better and just use them. And trying to think, I had a thing
like,
that I wanted to
has
say.
it gone with school or like with your friends or family? Like, has it bled into other areas that you like
Sure.
you didn't even think about
Yes,
until you were like aware of this?
for sure. I would say school, but for the most part, the last 2 years of the school or high school has been super easy because I've only had like one block of class, and then the 3 other blocks was work-based learning. So I was able just to do most of work-based learning. But when it comes to friends, like I love helping other people. Like I think, and even if these people are new, I mean, I still look at them as friends, not competitors. But I've helped, I think, 5 companies now in the area. I've helped like get started and get them a detailing business started too. I don't really, most people will be like, why are you doing that? It's more competition. But how I look at it is like the more professional companies we have in the area, the more we can control the market. So it's kind of, it's a weird touch like for some people to think about, but that's how I look at it. I mean, if there's more of us that are charging, I mean, I wouldn't say crazy amounts, but charging what the market should be, then that just helps me out because when people come to me, they don't think that $330 for a full detail. They're like, well, that's a great deal, especially with all your reputation and stuff, just because there's a bunch of other people that charge around that. But we also have a bunch of people in the area that charge 25 for a full in and out. And that's what messes the market up. So I think the more I can influence these new people to start like luxury businesses, like detailing and really have a good market. I was looking for the term, but I couldn't think about it. But sort of just along the lines of that, that's helped too with those aptitudes.
Along with this, am I hearing this correctly? You are actually hosting students as work-based learners in your business?
So I did not no longer, or
Okay.
not any longer. I had a student, or I've had one student that worked for me for a while, and he was also in the work-based learning program. That's where I gained the first in Georgia's history, or one of the first in Georgia's history, to be a work-based learning student and employer. However, things didn't quite work out, but it was great to still teach him teach him new ways and just things that will help him in other businesses or just other workplaces that he may go on to later in the future. However, now I have a full-time employee that works with me. I pay him $18 an hour, and we're pretty full. I mean, we're here soon. We're actually gonna be getting another van because we're pretty capped out where we can do. I mean, we stay about 4 to 5 weeks out booked. So it's cool to say. I mean, people are like, well, you always have work. That's a good thing, but it's really not, because I mean, we're losing probably. Last time I did the evaluations and kind of checked, we were losing, I mean, over $2,000 a month in clients just from not being able to get to them. And that's a big number when we could be taking care of these people and meeting. Like the biggest thing is you never know what this one client could bring you like later on down the road. So especially who they know and what they can provide as well. So
yeah,
well,
that seems like that's going to elite your pricing power and everything as well. That's amazing. Sorry, go ahead, Alli.
It is. I mean, like, so this kind of goes in. You dropped this earlier, you know, the Georgia Flex competition, which just gonna spoil it. You won, and but I like tell us a little bit about that, and then like, you know, by winning that, you got some money in order to help the business, is what I understand. So talk us through a little bit, explain like what that is a little bit to those who are unfamiliar, and kind of like how that's going to help you.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if y'all are fine, we have time. I can even run through like sort of the process that we had to go through for the whole competition. For people that don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, we start. Mr. Van Nuss, he handed me a packet. He was like, "Hey, I think you would do good at this." I was like, "That's a bunch of stuff. I don't know about that." But we looked into it, and I signed up for it. I was like, "It sounds fun. I would just do it for the connections and just meeting new people, because that's one of my favorite things to do." But we start off with everyone from all over the counties and stuff in the area. We all submit business plans. They choose, I think it was 10 or 20 companies out of all these business plans in the area. And we all go to a local competition. And from there, there's a big group of us, and we all kind of basically just build booths and stuff about our business. And at the end of it, we present some stuff to some judges, and they choose 3 people. I was one of the ones chose in the local. So that means I got to move to a regional side of things, where now it's the 3 from local. So it's a little bit more in depth. And there we do the same thing. We go through a bunch of different workshops and different processes that help us learn new things about how to run our business, how to present it to the judges, basically how to sell. So sort of along the lines of that. And at the end of the couple months of these workshops, we have another competition. And this is the one where it was getting real, because it's like whoever wins this one is headed to state. So we were all there and we were ready. I was able to take home the regional win. So that's where I went to state, and state was really fun, because now it's like all the first place regional winners from all across the state of Georgia here ready to win. So there was a bunch going on, but it was pretty cool at the state finals, because how they did it is basically the night before we all go set up our booths and everything we have to present to the public and the judges. The day of, it starts off with judges. They walk through and they stop at all of our booths. They ask us questions, what we're doing with the business, where we want to take the business, stuff like that. And then after they go through all the tables, we go to these like little interview pods. There was like 3 different interview pods. It was like one for financials, one for expansion, and one for something else I can't recall. But we all have 2 minutes, each person with their business. We have 2 minutes per pod to tell them everything we can about like expansion, our financials, what we're bringing in, stuff like that. And after all that, this is where they choose like the 3 companies. Actually, I take that back. I'm skipping. It's been a little bit now. It was a lot, but after these pods, this is where each company will go out on stage in front of all these people and families here waiting, and we each have a 1 minute elevator pitch we have to give to the judges. And this is where we really have to sell to them, and basically let them know how much we want it, because this is where they choose the top 3 to do the 10-minute presentation. And I was able to get chose to go to that section too, so it was pretty cool. And then, as you know, if you get to the 10-minute, that's where everything you got, you let them know every single thing about the business. And that's where I was like, you know what, I'm ready. I know my business. I'm ready to talk about it. So I was looking forward to it. And at the end of that, after doing the presentation, they announced that I was the 2026 or 2025, 2026 Georgia State Flex winner. So that was pretty cool. It's crazy to think, because when I was looking at the packet with Mr. Van Nuss a year before, I was like, I don't know about this.
That's a whole series of events that led up to the win. What are so you got money for the business. What in the 1 minute, elevator pitch, what were you pitching to use that money for?
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing that I was pitching throughout the whole process, even from regional, and regional was a $2,500 win as well. So nice. You got that and the $10,000 in state. But the biggest thing that I was pitching through the whole thing was about expansion. About how much we're losing from only having 1 unit. And that's where we really got them, because we were losing more money than what most of the other companies was bringing in a month. So that really stood out to them. And is when I got to state, I was like, I really pushed like how much, if we have 2 vans, how much we can expand it from being able to get to more people. However, we still want to deliver quality results and stuff. So I told them that some of this would go towards like extensive training programs and things like that to make sure the employees are ready.
That's amazing. And by the way, Landon, like we were on a text chain with Mr. Van Nuss on the other side of this. I think he was more nervous than you. Because he would send pictures and everything like that. You know, that's interesting though. And you know, that's a great question that Allie just asked about, like what are the funding you know, possibilities and what you're looking at. And that's something that we like. I mean, cash, your business has cash, or you run out of cash, or your cash is going down because you need something else. And I can tell you there's a lot of MBA people out there who don't even understand that, right? So that's very interesting. We were seeing it in the airline industry right now. So that's amazing. What beyond that, in that entire path, I mean, you basically looked at something like, I don't know, and then you achieved and won it. What was, I always like to ask this question in every path, but like, what was your biggest learning moment in that entire year?
I would say the biggest learning moment is like, for sure, when I've always like the confidence side of things for me has always been a little low, but going through that, I really learned that like everyone was there to help you. So there was no point to be nervous, and there was no point to like be worried about anything. So once I got over that, and I figured out that like they're trying to help you, like, and that's where the biggest learning curve for me was just be yourself. Like just be yourself. You know your business more than anyone else does. So when it comes to talking about it, like the biggest thing for me is like I didn't want to mess up nothing. So I was always like real tense and stuff. So when I was doing the presentations, like, and doing any type of public speaking part of things, like if you mess up, they don't know what you're talking about because it's your business. So like, just roll with it. Like during the state competition in the finals, just starting out, I already messed up. I was like, I can't stop now. So I'm just going to start talking about something else. And no one knew. So, I mean, you know your business more than anyone else. And you just got to be confident about it and just be yourself.
I think about this with I did some personal training a few years ago, and my whole thing was helping women feel confident in the gym and taking up space and everything. And I would take these semi-ridiculous videos of me doing stuff in the gym to then show my clients or potential clients, like, no one is paying any attention to you. Like, you think that people are really thinking about you because you're thinking about yourself, but everybody is in their own little bubble and they really don't care. Or if they are thinking about you, most people are thinking good things, you know, unless you're doing something like egregious. So I always laugh when I see like videos now of people being like, they're intentionally doing something absolutely ludicrous in the gym just to show that like absolutely no one bats an eyelash at what they're doing.
Yeah,
because it's really funny. So like I didn't have that confidence though, or think that again in high school. So it's just like you're learning so many like life lessons early. And yeah, it's astonishing what you've built. I'm curious, like, what was like the first moment since you built it, right? Like you started doing it on the weekends and then you decided to bet on yourself. But like when did you think like this might actually work?
Yes, ma'am.
Like again, like back it up. Like when did that happen?
I would say for sure, when I was doing it on the weekends, like sort of like what we just touched on, and my weekends were fully packed already, and it's the first month of starting, and my weekends are already fully packed. And I was like, this is without me even really promoting it. This is just from word of mouth, which is already a big thing. But this is without me even putting it out anywhere. No one even knows who I am. I mean, I didn't have a big last name. I wasn't popular by no means. And my parents they were like, well, you got to put money or you got to have gas money. So you got to figure something out to do. And like, I think when I first turned 16, we put applications for work stuff in for, I don't even know how many places, because they're like, you're going to have a job. So I've had to basically, I've had to work for it all. And when I knew it was going to work when those weekends were already full in the first month. I was like, I know I can do more. So I started just really pushing it, and it got busy fast.
It is interesting as things like skyrocket. Number one, like you I mean, go back to like the investigator, the YouScience aptitude, where you are like really understanding people, and in between those lines, basically you're talking about customer service. You're understanding your customer and what their needs are, and providing them the service. And if there's product there as well. This is the whole reason, Landon, that I started Disrupt Education was, how can we do school different? I want to ask you just a basic question here. You don't have to go all the way into school or whatever, but what have these customers in this entire first line mobile detailing business teach you that school couldn't?
For sure, like the value of like building trust and stuff. So like when you're just honest and like you're upright with them about things, and you're really just true to yourself, like you'll get repeat work, and you'll build relationships so much easier than like if you're shady about stuff, or like you beat around the bush for things like that. But another one would be like, just trying to think how I wanted to word it, but well, just really just big on the trust, like the side of things. Like when I was first starting out, and it hurt me to do it, and I didn't mean to, but we were working on an antique like Mercedes, and I was moving the seat up, and I broke the handle off of it. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be expensive. But once we were done, I let them know that we broke it, and once they got the quote to send it to me, and I mean, we'll pay them right then. And now they're one of our best clients. I mean, they're one of our return schedules, and I feel like school doesn't really, when it comes to like building relationships and stuff like that, and just like, I'm trying to think how to word it, but like the relationship side of things, on just like doing stuff right, and like how you can be rewarded for that, like later on down the road. And that's one thing I think that the business has taught me that like school definitely hasn't.
There's a lot of power in sowing good seeds, which I think is a lot of what you're saying. I think about everything you've built, and man, so many people underestimate young people and what they can do. And I don't know if you ever felt that, or you're just like, like laser vision, like blinders on. I'm doing this work. I'm not really paying attention to what people are or are not saying. But in your experience, with building the business and then also still being in school, what do you think adults like underestimate about what young people can do?
I feel like, I wouldn't say all, of course, but I feel like there's definitely many that like underestimate like how driven and like capable we actually are when it comes to things. Especially with like, we can bring a bunch of fresh ideas to the table that like people may not expect. Cause I mean, we grew up with technology our whole lives, especially AI now. That's a big thing. As much as it's probably not the best thing, it's definitely useful for a bunch of things. But really just the technology and like the knowledge that we can gain from that some of the older generations may not be as like good at as working with. So that just brings a ton of new, fresh ideas to the table. And there's a bunch of us. I mean, I know a bunch of people say that young people don't want to work, but there's a bunch that are willing to go like out of their way to be better than trying to think, but like just to prove people wrong. I feel like we're definitely driven, and we want to prove to the ones that do think that we're not capable that we are capable. So that's a big thing.
Maybe people were saying this about like the millennial generation when I was a young person, but I didn't hear it until like now I'm older, and I mean, I hear a lot of people saying stuff, which, what, to your point about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, not wanting to work, not having a work ethic, all that. So I like that you're aware of that message and you're like, actually, I'm going to work hard.
That's one of the best feelings.
Yeah. It's weird because I guess I'm in work-based learning programs and I hear a lot about the opposite, or maybe it's just because, I love being that person who is, Brandon, tell me what you want, tell me like how I can help you. Um, you know, I think the difference is like I feel like the generations, like the Gen Z and the alphas, and you can help me out on this, Landon, like, you have that always that pressure, especially in a traditional school, you have to have it all figured out, right? Well, you veered this path. I mean, are you still looking at being a pilot? And if that's the case, I mean, what would you tell somebody who's like your age or even younger, who's still trying to figure this whole thing out, like, what they're good at?
Yes, sir. The first thing I would say is like it's definitely okay to not have everything figured out, because how I look at it, and that's probably weird to say, but most people don't find a true path right away. Like most people, they don't just go straight into what they want to do. I mean, there may be some that do, but I feel like there's a bunch of times where people end up doing things that they never thought they would probably expect to be doing. And to me, I think I look at it as like it's more of a journey. It's not a race. Like that's kind of how I look at it. And what that does is like it opens up the door for like a lot of new opportunities. Because when you don't know what you want to do, like you kind of start stressing a little bit, and like you're like, I gotta find something, and that's where you start thinking of like new things, like new ways to do stuff. And I feel like that's real important, because I never thought, when I seen detailers, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to clean a car. But now it's at the point where I'm looking into expanding to a mobile or a multiple unit operation, as well as shop stuff later on down the road with a shop. I would like to get into collision repair stuff, paintless dent repair, painting services. Just I want to kind of expand into sort of the automotive side of things now. And at first I was just wanting to do one mobile unit and stuff, but now it's like I really want to expand into, hopefully turn into some type of a chain of things. So it's definitely going to be a works, but I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to put the work in and make it happen though. So
You could franchise.
Yeah.
yes, ma'am, for sure.
That's really cool. And I know I've already said this, but like it blows my brain up because you're 18 and you're already thinking about possibly like duplicating yourself and like just big business things. Like I don't like the term, small business and whatnot, because people are building something that's big to them, but the level you're talking about is like, well, how can I do more? And that's just an aptitude that not everyone has, and they don't see like beyond what's in front of them. You're kind of the more visionary type is a lot of what I'm hearing, but you also are grounded in like, I need to provide and do the day-to-day operations right. So it's like a really good benefit for you to build something from the ground up, and it's going to benefit you no matter where life takes you. Because I'm sure you likely are not going to just detail cars for the rest of your life. You could, I don't see that for you, because you have an entrepreneurial spirit. So like, you're already talking about like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And I'm sure it will come. So you just graduated high school. This is our student summer series. We love to encourage people to share this episode, with to-be high school students or current high school students. But like, if you could tell every high school student one thing before they graduate, what would that be?
My one thing would for sure to like, don't be afraid to ask for help or advice. Like that's the biggest thing for me. Because there's like a touch base back on what I was saying is like, sometimes people, or sometimes people around you can like open up doors that you didn't even know was there. So that one, and I know you said one, but I got one more. So another one is like, I've always been a big a big listener. So I would say listen more than you talk. That's a big one for me, because this can provide you like on ways on how to just better understand certain situations. But those would definitely be my two: is don't be afraid to ask for like help or advice. I was always bad at that, but I figured out real fast that people are always willing to help you, and it helps to have other people help you. So, and I figured that out fast when I started growing. So, and then just to listen more than you talk, because you can gain a bunch from that.
Those are amazing communication skills. Amazing. I can tell you, I'm still learning that. I'm a little older than you. I got one more question I wanted to throw out there, because I think it's interesting, and I want our listeners to maybe just kind of hear your authentic self. How much did understanding like what you're good at and your aptitudes come into play here? Like if that didn't happen, do you think you'd get to this point as fast?
I would say definitely not, because I wouldn't have been able to like work off the things that I didn't even know I didn't even know I had. So with knowing those things, I was able to just use them to my advantage, and sort of just like work off of them, and like just basically just put them in place. So like the investigator, for instance, I've gained so many return people just from like researching on them before and seeing what they like, and then like talking with them when I got to their place and just building a relationship. Like the golf tees, for example, stuff like that. Or like we have a couple clients that's real big into like pickleball things, so maybe some grips for their pickleball paddles, or just little things that like make a huge difference. A big thing for me would be like during Christmas time, we go out of our way, like all of our like main return clients, we got a bunch of golfers and stuff like that, so we get nice golf balls brand new for them, stuff like that. Some of our other clients that are in tennis, just things that people that you wouldn't expect, like a detailing company to leave you a brand new pack of golf balls after your detail. So anything we can do to separate ourselves from others, we try to go and do. And knowing those aptitudes, that helps kind of just work off things and use it to my advantage.
I said this when I first learned about YouScience and just this idea of aptitudes and like playing to your strengths, is that instead of going through life like looking for a treasure chest and you're like, okay, it's somewhere on this island and you don't have a map, like knowing your aptitudes gives you an X on the map so you can go like right to it. And it's cool to hear in a young person's point of view how that kind of really created a roadmap for you and made it clear how you can use your strengths in order to like, man, just rocket launch yourself into your post high school era, which you were kind of doing while in high school. Like it's unbelievable to hear this. And you know, I want to point out like a really key difference between this episode that I'm already hearing from last year is that like last year we didn't have students on that kind of knew enough about themselves in high school to maybe be where they are at, where you're at, like, and how knowing that kind of stuff about yourself can open up so many avenues before you get that diploma. And you can feel like really prepared for life after high school. And it sounds like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you like have a good plan for after high school. And that is really exciting to hear. Landon, before we kind of like wrap this up, is there anything we missed in your story or anything cool that you didn't get to share that you would want to share on this podcast?
It's kind of a funny one, but I wanted to like just show like how I kind of started with nothing when it comes to like doing this. Like I said my parents didn't help much. Well, they did help a little. They got me 2 buckets. When I first started, I got 2 plastic buckets. And now we have a $40,000 mobile detailing set up, and we're about to get another one. So, if you put your mind to it, you can definitely make things happen. And, you can do, I wouldn't say do it fairly fast, but you can for sure you can make it happen in a short frame with something like this. I don't know, I kind of word that weird, but if you just put your mind to it, you can make it happen.
2 buckets to a successful business. I have a feeling that might be the name of this podcast, Landon. And the one thing that I did hear you say, which was interesting, and people, you can go back in the podcast and listen to it, is like, I wasn't good at communicating. Actually, you were. You just didn't know your power of it and how you investigate, and you become a researcher. So that was so clear, and thank you for sharing that. But if there's one thing that your story reminds all of us, is that the directions of a path doesn't always come with following a traditional plan. I mean, it comes from responding to the obstacle. Okay, I can't get to there quick here, so I'm going to go this way. And you really didn't abandon that dream of becoming a pilot. And I hope one day to actually step on your plane someday. I think that's going to be cool. Or actually take my daughter skydiving with Allie while you're flying the plane. Yes, I'm stacking these crazy things. But look, man, you along the way, this is all something bigger than business, man. This is your confidence. This is your skill sets, relationships, even opportunities for other learners and students, whether they're working for you or in businesses like yours. That's pretty awesome. And, disrupting education isn't about helping students choose a career. It's about helping them understand themselves well enough to create the opportunities when they don't exist. So kudos to you, Landon, for building. And I'm going to leave this to our guests out there. The question is, what might happen if more of your students believed that they could do the same? Landon, want to thank you so much. Give a shout out. How can people connect with your business? Where can they find you? I know, we're all across the United States and some parts of the world, but hey, when you franchise, I'm going to guess I heard it here first. But give us a little plug on where people can find you.
Yes, sir. So we're on basically all socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All of them is First Line Mobile Detailing LLC. Also, if you'd like to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Landon Breeden, just LANDON and BREEDEN.
Excellent. Dude, thank you so much for sharing your story today. We really appreciate it. I know basically this is what Disrupting Education is all about. This is how we can tell the stories of our learners and actually learn from our students. So appreciate you passing your story along today.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much for having me. It was great.
Awesome. So check that whole thing out. I'm going to tell you what, I think we're going to see First Line Mobile Detailing LLC in some more places other than Southern Georgia. So looking forward to seeing that. Hey, just another thing, if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, guess what? The old AI stuff got you here. So which means you probably, hey, this is something I want to listen to. Yes, I did sound old there, Allie, but I don't care. You're in it. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, pass this along. These are the stories. We are just beginning our series for the summer here. Student series. We've got more stories. Landon set the bar high. But don't forget to head over to disrupteducationpodcast.com. And thank you so much for being a listener today. For Alli Dahl, I'm Peter Hostrawser. We'll catch you next time on the Disrupt Education Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Disrupt Education Podcast. If this episode sparked an idea, challenged your thinking, or helped you see education differently, well, that's exactly why we're here. We're highlighting real stories and bold ideas shaping the future of learning. A quick thank you to our sponsor, YouScience BrightPath, the next generation platform helping students make personalized decisions as they move from education to career. If you're serious about connecting students to real opportunity, head to YouScience.com/disrupteducation-podcast. Request a demo and let them know you heard about YouScience right here on the Disrupt Education Podcast. For more episodes and clips and ways to connect, you can always visit disrupteducationpodcast.com. I'm Peter Hostrawser. Keep disrupting. We'll see you next time on the podcast.